So this is Channel One Television bringing you live feed from the Jubilee Lounge, where we're expecting the arrival of the King of Eswatini, formerly Switzerland, that is Swaziland, that is King Mswati III. Well, he is arriving in Ghana for a 4-day state visit in the country. And so that in your shot there you see is the jet that is we're expecting to see the king of the Eswatini arriving with, as well as a delegation from the Kingdom of Eswatini. Now, for those who do not know, the country Eswatini in 2018 it was renamed to Kingdom of Eswatini from Swaziland. Well, the reason being that the King of Eswatini, who is just arriving in Ghana, felt that a lot of people had that confusion in mind with the countries, the two countries, Swaziland and then Switzerland, and so he decided to rename the country to Eswatini, just to give that clear distinction. And so that is the king that we're expecting to see just arriving here at the Jubilee House, the Jubilee Lounge, and a number of dignitaries are here. He will be received by a delegation from government side. We will be expected to see the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, as well as the key members of the presidency here to receive the King of Eswatini, that is King Mswati III, arriving here. Now, the essence of the visits essentially is to, one, have bilateral engagement with President John Dramani Mahama. We are expecting or anticipating that a memorandum of understanding will be signed between the two countries. We do not know details of that particular, MOU, but that is the indication that we are getting. And also, the king is expected to travel all the way to the Ashanti region, where he will be engaging the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. And so that you have in your shots the chief of staff, as well as government delegation arriving here. So that is Stanislav Dogbe. He is the deputy chief of staff in charge of operations, as well as the chief of staff himself, Julius Debra, arriving to receive the king of Eswatini, King Mswati III. And so shortly we'll be seeing him shortly when everything here is set. But that is what you have in your short Channel One TV, bringing you live updates. So earlier, as I said, the king would be meeting President John Dramani Mahama to have bilateral engagement with him. An MOU is anticipated to be signed between the two countries, and then later today the king will depart for the Ashanti region, specifically Kumasi, where he would be meeting King Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. And you know that when two kings meet, we expect to see the beauty and the royalties of both countries, as well as we are going to see the two kings share great ideas, and we also are getting indication that the king is scheduled to meet officials of the African Continental Free Trade Area after Secretariat here in Accra later today, before he departs to Kumasi. And then when he arrives in the Ashanti region, he would pay official visits to the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, KMA, and would be given a treat as he would tour the Menchia Palace. That would be happening today when he arrives in the Ashanti region, and later he would address the National House of Chiefs. We also understand. Now, tomorrow being Wednesday, he would be attending a grand debate of chiefs organized in honor of the Menchia Palace, and also on the last weekday, which probably would be Friday, he will be treated to a royal banquet at the Otumfuo Osei Tutu II Jubilee Hall at Menchia. And then before his final departure, which would be on Saturday, his final departure to Eswatini, back to his home country. He, together with Otumfuo the second, will attend the KNUST congregation. He would attend the KNUST congregation. It is anticipated that he would say one or two things to the students, the graduating students, as usual. And so it's a packed week for the King of Eswatini, King Mswati III, who is on a 4-day state visit to Ghana. And so a number of the members of the presidency are all here, patiently waiting to receive the king, who has just arrived. He arrived at about 12:30 p.m. this afternoon, 12:30 p.m. And it's going to be a very interesting ceremony, because right after the Jubilee Lounge here, where we currently are, where he will be received and welcomed, there's going to be a welcome ceremony at the Jubilee House, where he will meet President John Mahama. And so President John Dramani Mahama will not be at this particular lounge to receive him. He would be received by a Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, and also the Deputy Chief of Staff, Stanislav Dogbe. They will do the official welcome here at the Jubilee Lounge before the departure to the Jubilee House. And so we are patiently waiting. Persmen here, I mean, you can hear in the background some music from the culture troupe, the troupe of dancers, also here just to feed the atmosphere with that ambience that you're for when you expect another statesman visiting a country for the first time. So that is what you see in your shot happening here at the Jubilee Lounge. So a number of things happening. Well, the King Mswati III has a type of dressing where the Eswatinis usually wear when they're visiting a country. I don't know if that is going to change, but I am anticipating that personally, and that is what, like you see in your shot, the man in the regalia, I don't know what it's called, but that's what he's wearing, and probably that is what the King of Eswatini is expected to wear, or he may be clad in suits, probably. Well, but that is it. It's going to be a week-long itinerary for the king as he arrives here in Ghana. And so if you can the camera can just pan to see how the arrival will be done. You get a sense of what it means when a statesman arrives in a different country for visits. And so, okay, so all is set. We would have to get a bit closer. Okay, so we're not getting a bit closer, but I'm sure that Channel 1 TV will bring you close-up shots of what is happening, the arrival ceremony. Well, mind you that this is going to be a very brief ceremony. And so there you have it. There's going to be a presentation of bouquet, which signifies the warm welcome that the country is given to the visiting king. Usually it is done for all visiting presidents elsewhere. And so that is what we are expecting here at the Jubilee Lounge. Well, you can see some of the pilots getting down from the plane, and soon we should expect to see King Mswati III. Well, a lot of people know him as a man who is true to his words. I mean, back in Eswatini, people say that with the number of issues growing in the country, they don't have security issues, but issues such as economy, the dwindling economy and all of that, people say that He's taken some tough decisions in the past. And mind you too that he's been a king since 1986. So he must have garnered that experience over the years on how to rule a country, especially a country such as Eswatini. And like I said earlier, the country was formerly Swaziland, and the king felt that a lot of people did not have they did not get that clear distinction between Swaziland and Switzerland, and so wanted to give that clear distinction. So he decided to rename the country to Eswatini, and so that is what you have. That is what you have for the King of Swati, who is just arriving. Okay, so the team is ready. The delegation from government walking majestically on the red carpet to meet the King of Eswatini, King Mswati III. So the press, we just have to double our footsteps while we follow the pace of the government delegation to get you close-up shots of all that is happening here at the Jubilee Lounge. Like I said earlier, it's going to be a very brief ceremony, because right after here, the king is expected to meet President John Mahama at the Jubilee House. And so this should probably take a 5 minutes of our time. There you have it, state protocol, just trying to put things in order. Just so we can have this done orderly, as the king is being received by the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, who happens to be the right-hand man of the President John Dramani Mahama. And so that is what you see, or you have in your shot. Soon we are expecting to see the king arrive here, walking down majestically to meet the Chief of Staff. And then there was going to be a presentation of bouquet. That would also happen here briefly. So yeah, we're getting you a close-up shot of how he would arrive. Like I said earlier, I am anticipating the dress code, because that is what they are known for. The traditional regalia there, with some sort of wreaths on the arms and then the neck and all of that. So the little girl, beautifully dressed, is expected to hand over the bouquet to the visiting king. Like I said, the protocol, state protocol men are all on the ground to ensure that this is done in order. So there you have it in your shot, as anticipated. The King of Eswatini, King Mswati III, visiting Ghana in his beautifully dressed regalia. There you have it, walking down majestically from the plane. You can see how excited he is to meet this numbers here at the Jubilee Lounge. And there you have it, King Mswati III. This is actually his first time visiting Ghana, and so you can see the anticipation. That is it, the presentation of bouquet and the smile he's wearing on his face, telling you how excited he is to be in the country. We really do not know if the lady in purple is his wife. We know that he has 16 wives. Yes, King Mswati III has 16 wives. And so the media are just trying to catch up with the pace. But that's what you have in the shot. King Mswati III walking majestically with the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, as they enter the Jubilee Lounge proper, where they would have exchange greetings before they depart to the Jubilee House, where he would be meeting the President, John Dramani Mahama, for bilateral engagement, as well as an MOU that will be signed by the two countries. And so there you have it. He is very excited to be in Ghana because, like I said earlier on, this is his first time in Ghana and his first time visiting the country. And he's expected to have a number of things in the country before his departure. He would, from the Jubilee House, after visiting the President, depart to Kumasi in the Ashanti region to meet Otumfuo II, where he would be given a treat, touring the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. So there you have it, the dance troupe, performing, usually done when statesmen are visiting another country for the first time, or sometimes, usually, when they visit a country, this is done to show our culture. And that is exactly what has been done here at the Jubilee House, the Jubilee Lounge. So we'll be here at the Jubilee House, where he would be given a warm welcome by the President and the government delegation. But that is what is happening here at the Jubilee Lounge in Accra. And so he would meet the government delegation, introduced, that is the Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, as well as the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Jifa Gomashi, the Works and Housing Minister, Gilbert Kenneth J, and that you have the Deputy Minister of the body, and also the Deputy Presidential Spokesperson, Shamima Muslim, and some other key members of the Foreign Affairs Ministry also here to present. This is a historic visit. This is the first time that King Mswati III is visiting the country, and so it should tell you the number of men that will be deployed from the key ministries like the Foreign Affairs Ministry and the government side to welcome the third. There you have it in your shot. These are members of the Foreign Affairs and the Eswatini Embassy in Ghana, a delegation from the Embassy of Eswatini in Ghana here to welcome their presidents, or to welcome their king. Yes, their king, King Mswati III. And so it's, like I said, it's going to be a very short ceremony here before the departure to the Jubilee House.
He's a praise singer for the king.
So just a short while ago, you could hear some singing in the background. That was the king's songman. So usually when the king arrives at certain places, he would sing while the king takes his seat wherever he is. So that is what is happening. That is what is happening here. It's we are just struggling to get in there, but we definitely would go in. We definitely would go in to bring you snippets of what is happening, and before the team takes off to the Jubilee House. But this is what is happening. A culture that is being displayed beautifully from both sides. That is Ghana and Eswatini. And shortly we'll be going in there to bring you shots of what is happening. So we'll have to wait a bit more to allow the King take his seat together with the Chief of Staff before the pressmen get in there to bring you details of all that is happening in there. So every part of where you visit as we speak, from the Jubilee Lounge where we currently are to the Jubilee House, you'd see the photos of the two leaders displayed beautifully. So in your shots you see President John Dramani Mahama on the right, and then you see King Mswati III also displayed on the left. So we finally get to go in there. Let's double our pace so that we can bring you details of all that is happening at the Jubilee Lounge. It is expected that the King must have taken his seat ready to say one or two things before the departure to the Jubilee House. The Jubilee House. Okay, we need to take our positions. That is what you have. So this is where we end the coverage of the arrival of the King of Eswatini, King Mswati III. The media would have to excuse the two, which is the Chief of Staff and then King Mswati, to allow for a brief conversation before they finally depart to